Excellent. So thank you for coming today. For today's seminar hosted by Scaling Your Company, we're going to talk about subsidies, mainly subsidies, not so much grants, but more so on subsidies from the Japanese government to help your startup and your small business. So a lot of these will apply not just only to startups, but also small businesses as well who are not tech startups. And Nobuji, I'll let you introduce the topic.
Okay. Okay. My name is Nobuji Kanai. I'm going to start out, and Tyson will take over from time to time. But I mainly talk about Japanese subsidies that may sound a little mysterious or something. So I'm going to reveal some secrets, hopefully, and I'd like you to ask me a lot of questions at the end. Okay, let's start. Okay. I think starting in Japan, the business by non-Japanese is pretty much frustrating. I know that because I tried to do that outside of Japan, namely in the US before, and I had to struggle myself. So right now, I'm in Japan and helping people like you. I understand how you feel. You started in Japan and struggling to secure financial support. Do you think information on online financial support is frequently fragmented and inaccurate? You don't get, you get some information, yes, you have ChatGPT, and you get a lot of hits from the searches, but how do you do it? It's unclear. You feel uncertain, and you want somebody to talk to, expert. Maybe at the beginning, free advice, but if you need some help, you need someone to be there. Okay, today I'm going to give you as much information as possible how to do it. Key takeaways I'm going to provide today mostly in three things. First thing is you can also get a subsidy. You can get a lot of, it's not hundreds, it's tens of thousands of Japanese small businesses, including startup, IT tech, maybe like a middle class, hundreds of employees and so forth. They are getting those subsidies many times, not once, 2 times, many times to get their business profitable and accelerate and the way they want. Number two, why can you get subsidy? Why it's there and why they are giving us? You may kind of feel puzzled. You get clear answer today. Number three, how you can get a subsidy. Yeah, I know how they are there, but how can I do it? Yeah, I'm going to give you some information, but with a case study at the end, how I did it with another one example for you. Okay, just briefly, my name is Nobuji Kanai. I graduated from University of Washington, and as a US CPA, and worked for accounting firm like Deloitte, Arthur Andersen, and also worked for Goldman Sachs, UBS, all those big financial companies. But I always wanted to be independent from when I was a student. So I decided to be independent, and I once had online education business, investment education business, and hit hundreds of millions of yen level, but I had to struggle myself after that. So if you talk to me, I can speak all about that later, but today we're going to focus on the subsidy. Okay, so I'll hand it to
Yes.
Tyson.
Yes, and John, we will discuss some of the subsidies types that are available in Japan. We'll cover that later, and we have a graph for that. Just to introduce myself first, so for scaling your company, we are doing seminars. We've done seminars on how to do influencer marketing in Japan, setting up or renting office space in Japan, labor law in Japan, taxes in Japan. We have quite a lot of seminars. And Heiken, I'll let you post our seminars page of past seminars so the guests can listen to that if there's topic is they're interested in. We also do a podcast, the Scaling Japan podcast and Japan Scalers podcast, which is at 90 episodes. And we have about 90 blog posts. So we've pretty much covered almost every topic you can cover to help entrepreneurs in Japan. And in September, we're going to do localization. So how to localize your website and marketing content into English. And I think the other one we're going to do is next month we're going to do sales. We're going to do a Ask Me Anything with sales, and we have I think he's in the guest list, Evan Verkowski and Christian, who are both sales veterans in Japan. So you can ask them questions about B2B sales. And that's going to be October, and in November we're going to do marketing localization. And just a little bit about us. We create websites in Japanese and English. You can see some examples at the bottom for B2B or B2C. And we also can help you with SEO and Google Maps. We also have sales courses for the Japanese market on trade shows and making a marketing and sales deck, one-on-one growth advisory. And also we're going to start in October peer group coaching for CEOs, 5 million to 30 million yen B2B, those who do B2B services. We already have 4 members for this, just looking for 2 more. And the 40 million to 500 million annual revenue group. And I think we have about 3 people there. So if you're interested in that, you can reach out to Heiken or myself. And and Nobuji, you can skip the next slide and jump right into the seminar.
Okay. I can skip it this. Okay.
I'll just give I think that one's fine.
Okay.
Since I talked long enough already.
Okay. All right. So first thing, you can also get a subsidy. It's not only for Japanese, but those people or those non-Japanese living in Japan, doing business in Japan, they are also eligible for Japanese subsidies. Japanese government doesn't care if you are from US, Europe, Asia, China, even Chinese. They can get a subsidy. In fact, that I'm helping a Chinese startup getting a business loan and also a big amount of the subsidies. They pop up from time to time. If you are ready, you can capture it. But if you don't, you realize it's out there and you are not ready for it, you always pass those, see those subsidies, benefits pass. That's kind of sad. How can you do it? What is subsidy? Let me explain. Subsidies are primarily funded through national corporate and income taxes to aid businesses expand their businesses through sales and all the machinery and equipment and IT developments and so forth. Grants, on the other hand, are mainly supported by payroll taxes, employment insurance, and so forth to enhance employment opportunities, staff training, and so forth. So they are two different things. We're going to talk about subsidies. Grants are usually smaller in amounts, in hundreds of thousands of yen or few millions of yen are most of the cases. Subsidies, it can be from 2 million to 10 million to 80 millions and maybe more. If you talk about GX and bigger DX project, it's going to be 100 of millions of yen or more easily. So you just need to know they are there and how to get it. So what kind of subsidies are available? There are, it's said that there are thousands, maybe 3,000 or more, maybe more, subsidies available. They are mainly from the national government, especially target to SME, small and medium-sized enterprise. Those agency for that is mainly for the purpose of digitization and starting up a new business. People want somebody like you, myself, and other people to start up their business. That's a very big thing in Japan now. Somebody like organization like NEDO, NED, I think it's a New Energy Development Organization or something that's part of the government, and they want to invest. They want you to invest in SDG or energy, and so forth. Those energy and deep tech type of things. And amounts gets to be really big, and hundreds of millions of yen easily you can get it. Local government are also, for example, Tokyo Metropolitan Government is TMG, allow you to get startup finance, not only the subsidies, but also business loans, guaranteed. You don't have to put personal guarantee or collateral. They want startup businesses, new businesses, to get money out of banks. And there is a national bank called Japan Finance Corporation. Their job is to finance small businesses. They are willing to. You just need to talk to them. You just need to apply. You get it if you are doing good business. You get it. And other organizations, it's various. It's maybe private, maybe like a foundation and so forth. They are available. They are always there, but mostly local and those private funds are available or very limited time. So you need to be aware when it's coming out. And when it comes out, usually 2-3 weeks window to apply for it. So you just need to have all the documentations, business plans, and know how to apply for it and so forth, ready for it. You just need to be ready. So who is paid to? Many non-Japanese don't know individuals, sole proprietors. They can get subsidies too. And if you are about to incorporate, KK or GK, you can transfer that subsidy to the new company if you personally get the subsidy and incorporate. So you don't have to worry. You can start the application process as early as just starting. Japanese government want employees to start a new business, not just businesses that's already there, but new businesses. They want more new businesses. And also corporations. Yeah, SME and also large corporations. They give you different kinds of subsidies, but small businesses are targeted, especially for small business type subsidies. And eligibility, and who can apply for what, is deeply depending on the purpose of the subsidy. When you say purpose, government wants something in their policy to happen in Japan. Increase employment, increase new corporations. They have different types of subsidies for each category. Okay. So second, why can you get a subsidy? Why it's there? Who cares? But they're just giving away money. Why? The biggest thing is that Japanese government thinks increasing a new startup, especially fast-grown like unicorns. Kishida's government, he may be going away, but somebody will take over. But he decided they needed to have 100 more unicorns in Japan in order to catch up the United States economic growth and turn around 30-year recession. It's been there. There are other government policies to promote startups, especially for SMEs. And these are two different things, but I think they're getting together now. And promote innovation, like they call out for like a DX, or a green technology is GX. They want to put a lot of budget and money into the new startup to create innovation and create more green energy and so forth. Okay, those are the national policy, and they include you are eligible to get it because you will contribute to the Japanese economy, and it's a good thing for Japan. Okay, what kind of subsidies are there? One thing, these are the national subsidies, and they are usually there maybe 3 or 4 times. At this point, there is no subsidies opened, but we are expecting some will start out again. It's between the old government cabinet to the new cabinet, and it kind of stopped, but it's going to start again. Business restriction subsidies, these are especially for the COVID period, and it may be ending soon. Monozukuri, second one right here, right, is for the innovation. If you are in an innovation type of business, this is the subsidy you want to especially look into. And if you are going to purchase a Japanese business, mid-sized business in Japan, business succession and acquisition subsidy may be available. If you are selling IT products, IT implementation subsidy may be there. Or if you want to make your business operation more efficient, they're going to give you money to purchase the various DX, digital innovative products into your business. And one thing that is the easiest and most often used by smaller startups businesses is a small business subsidy. When you're just starting out, this small business subsidy is the one you want to look into. And this is one of the easiest to get. Okay.
Nobuji.
Yeah, okay.
Do you think we should open it up for questions on this slide, or should we do it at the end?
Yeah, especially for this thing, there may be a question or two. Do you have anyone have some question about this?
Yes, I think we'll take one or two questions on this slide, and you can type your question, or if you could type your question first, that would be much appreciated. And as maybe some people are typing in a question,
Yeah,
and
one thing you need to be careful is that acceptance rate is like 6 months ago. And last two, subsidy, um,
I have my mouse hovered over acceptance rate.
okay. You want to read the question?
Oh no, I'm just telling them. I think our mistake was it just says ACCPT, but this part means acceptance rate.
Okay.
Cool.
Any
Please
other?
can. And I think the other, yeah, I think the main point for everyone to understand is with subsidy information, it's always changing.
Yeah.
So a subsidy that might exist one year might not exist the next year. So it's really hard to get up-to-date and accurate information on subsidies. And I think Nobuchi, you're saying, I think this acceptance rate in the middle, I think this
Yeah.
was based on 6 months ago, right?
Yeah. Recently it decreased. Uh, for example, small business subsidy, the last two subsidy acceptance rate was like a 40%. Really, the last one was like a 37.1%.
And so we have a few questions. I'll go with Emil's first. But
Okay.
Ryohei, for your question, what are each application numbers? Are you asking how many people apply for this? Or if you
Yes,
could
and
clarify.
especially what interested me was that when we see the separate, it's just subtle, just a three or I don't know a few percent. But he said like the small business subsidy would be the easiest. But how come it's like the acceptance rate is a little bit slightly lower?
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah, but
That's
still, compared to other acceptance rate, it's better. But the tendency, the trend is getting to be more and more difficult. The application, the content you need to include in the application is much loose, meaning that you don't have to put very complicated, very intensive information. And their review points are different and easier. And the number of the application, there are about 4 times, and small business subsidy application is something like a 7,000, and acceptances are recently, it used to be like 5,000 or something, but it gets getting to be like a 3,000 or something. So that's what we're talking about. Other subsidies applications are smaller than that. Monozukuri may be like half of that figure, but still thousands of people are getting accepted. Monozukuri needs an extensive business plan and prove that your new business, new service line is very innovation based, because you need to put a lot. Small business subsidy just explain your business is how you compare to the competitors, what your advantages, and how you want to expand your business. It's a lot easier to explain.
And for questions, I think we have enough questions at the moment. And so
Okay.
probably won't be accepting any more. And maybe we'll move the ones we didn't cover until the end. Yeah, I
Okay.
think Nobuji gave a really good answer, is that the small business subsidy, it's much easier to explain, to verify, and it's much simpler to understand. Therefore, there is a higher acceptance rate.
Yeah.
And also, so Emil's question is, can we still apply for COVID subsidies?
COVID. No, COVID subsidies are all gone. I think there are lots of subsidies and grants named COVID. You know, if you lost sales, your income decreased by a certain percentage or something, then you can apply those subsidies. There are still some, but it's just fading away. They believe that the COVID period is now over, that the effect of COVID is getting away, but there are still some. So this may be the last time, probably this year, it may be the last year to apply for COVID-related subsidies.
Cool. And I'll jump to Evan, I'll jump to your question next, but John Kirsch asks, oh, and I think we're getting more questions. Okay, no, never mind. Thanks for the answer. For John Kirsch's questions, what are some key qualifications that are needed for an application to be accepted? So I think
depends on what subsidies you're applying for. These are more targeted to small to mid-size corporations. For example, small business subsidy and monozukuri subsidy, applicant could be an individual. You can apply for small business and monozukuri as an individual if you do a business, sole proprietor. Small business subsidy, in general, those are for corporations with 5 or less employees. It's really small business. It's just a new startup or small business like a restaurant or things like that. Those are, they are targeted completely different. If you say mid-sized companies, it's like 100 employees or less, or there's a definition for small to mid-sized companies, and usually, if your employee is 200, 300, or 500, you are qualified generally, and you cannot be owned by a large corporation, largely capitalized corporation, or publicly traded. If you are owned by 50% or more, or directly or indirectly, don't qualify. But other than that, just when you talk about a startup or medium size in general, they're mostly qualified, eligible.
Gotcha. And I think to summarize, one is sole proprietors can apply for which ones again?
Small business subsidy and monozukuri.
Okay. And the other ones you need
these
to be
two have startup category. So if you meet certain conditions as a startup, you have a special treatment, preferable treatment in this and this.
Gotcha. And I think that answers, sorry, I might be pronouncing your name, but Joe Chen's question.
Okay.
And actually, no, let me just double check. So like for monozukuri, if they were to use monozukuri, would that apply for R&D?
Yeah, R&D, but if you are investing quite a bit of money, like a deep tech, you may want to apply for deep tech oriented subsidies, and which gives you more subsidy, bigger amount. Monozukuri is for regular companies, like regular manufacturer, service providers, and IT developers and so forth. If they are creating a new product that involves digitization and IoT, AI, and so forth, but it needs to be a new technology, new innovation. The focus is there.
And Evan asked a pretty good question. I think that applies to everyone as well. It's what is the approximate time required to, I guess, complete the form, maybe, go back and forth, catch ball with the government officials to get a subsidy like the small business subsidy?
Yeah, small business subsidy in these four things, except for IT implementation subsidy, is the quickest. Usually, you want to get a certain certificate from local government. There's a startup oriented education program that takes 4 weeks. If you get that certificate, you get a special treatment in small business subsidy, and probably it's going to take at least a few weeks or maybe up to a month. You can put those two together to prepare for the application. You do that online, and you don't have to, if you have any questions, you can call and ask questions to the office there, administration office. But it's mainly you read and understand and go through the Q&A and so forth and prepare 5 to 6 page, word pages business plan. And that needs to be really compact and really impactful to the reviewers. They examine it. It takes 3 months, usually 3 months. And if you get some notice from them, then the project start. Small business, it's only a 4 month, I shouldn't say only, but 4 month period. You want to spend up to 2.5 million yen. You can finish it and make a report, submit a report of how you did it, how you actually spend the money you said you were going to in the application, and they will review again how you did it. You actually performed as you said in the application. Then they will pay you the amount they approve into your bank account. So it's like a month or so to apply, 4 months or maybe less to do the project and apply for the request for the payment and get the approval, maybe like 2 weeks or so, 3 weeks or so to get the money in your bank account. That's generally the process.
And I think a follow-up question, I think from Evan's question is I think he's curious about, or maybe, I guess I'll rephrase it. Maybe if Nobuji, you were to file for it,
right?
Like how many hours would it take you to do it?
Oh.
I think his question is how many hours does it take? But I think you probably wouldn't know how long it'll take, like someone like me to do it. So like how long would it take you probably if you were to do everything?
It's a very interesting question. I've been doing this a number of times, and I use ChatGPT, for example, for market research and all the market analysis, the framework and so forth. They would expect in a business plan and so forth. There are ways to make those things very efficient. If you don't know, if you do that for the first time, tens of hours. First of all, there are 100 pages, for example, small business subsidy in Japanese. You need to go through, you read through to fully understand what you need to do, and even after the application, and what kind of documents you need to collect when you do the project and so forth. So it really depends. But in order to prepare an application, in my situation, I hired an intern, and having that person to prepare, I do all the training. So that person understands what needs to be done, probably in 30 hours. But if you are going to do that for the first time, I don't know, it might take 100 hours or more, or to prepare just a 5-page business plan. If you are used to a business plan, but what they're expecting is very detailed, very, certain formats, frameworks they want you to put in the business plan and so forth. So it's the best, I think. It's not, subsidies are not your business. That's experts' business. Experts are experts to do the certain things in the shortest and most efficient, most effective way to do it, so you don't have to worry about all the details in Japanese. And communications with the administration office, any request, any report, all in Japanese. So if you want to hire a Japanese manager to do it, he may or may not be very knowledgeable in subsidy. I think it's going to be a headache if you are to go through.
And that answers let's say mixed question. Typically, let's say if you don't so I guess Nobuji, the application, it has to be in Japanese, right, for the subsidy?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And all the documents, guidebook and so forth are in Japanese, and they don't intend to translate by themselves for
and also usually you would use someone like Nobuji, or there are foreigners who do it as well, but you would use someone else who has experience writing for the subsidies, and they'll do it on your behalf. The question.
No, when you say on your behalf, there is no such thing as power of attorney or anything.
Or you wouldn't submit
licenses.
it for them. You would create the documents for them, but you wouldn't submit it for them, right?
No, that's the client's job to do it, but we can assist. We can use something like on Zoom meeting, so that we can talk about instruct where to put what, and copy and paste on
They
the
would have to
Japanese
file
application.
it, and they would have to file it themselves, and
So at least you need to push the submit button. We can do all the inputs, maybe, but you need to understand and push the submit button by yourself.
And we had another question, like, can we apply for multiple subsidies in parallel? And the answer is yes, right, Nobuji?
Yeah, that's discussed in the report that I'm going to discuss later. But you can do that simultaneously, repeatedly, and you can use one and followed by another, so that it can be. For example, IT implementation subsidy. You can use that with
and you can apply for the same subsidy more than once, depending on the subsidy.
Yeah, but you may have to wait a few years until the first subsidy project is complete.
And so I think in the other question, I think we'll jump back into it, but I think one thing I think people maybe don't understand is that there's been a lot of gaming of the system. Like for the small business subsidy, usually there are some companies that would help you create the subsidy, and they'll also do the service for you. And so that was their way of getting customers.
Right.
And also they'll be charging higher rates for the subsidy. So there's been a lot of gaming of the subsidy. So that's why sometimes they make you do a lot of hurdles. So I think people have abused the system. And so that's why sometimes it seems like it's being really restrictive.
Yeah, that's generally true. When, subsidies are not as big as these amounts that you're looking at before the COVID. And COVID really affected how much they're going to give away. For example, business restructuring subsidies, they popped up at the very beginning of COVID.
Yeah, I think, never mind. Gotcha. You mean the smaller ones for COVID?
Yeah, and many, I shouldn't say many, but some businesses abused. Just, they want to get the subsidy anyways, so that they created a business and they created certain product or something, and they brought it to many clients to do the same
Yeah, same
project.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so that's
So
why
they
it
happen,
has
yeah,
sorry,
the
Ken.
administration offices, happen to know that's happening, and they chased and made the restrictions, tighter and tighter and so forth.
Yeah. And so it impacted me. Like, we create websites, but now they have a limit on the amount you can charge for websites because people
Yeah.
abuse the system.
Right.
But nobody, yeah, I think we'll just move.
Yeah.
We'll
You want to
move
move?
on. Yeah.
Yeah, we should move to finish up. How you can get subsidy is the third one. This is a process. I just talked about it, but application phase 2 to 3 months. I said it, but in the shortest, those, if you want to get certificate from the local government, and if you want to prepare for the business plans and so forth, or discussions and so forth, your visions and missions, and how you're going to do it, explanation of your management and employees, your businesses, the market is heading north or south, or those kind of things. So you need to do a market research and so forth. Easily take a month to do it. You put them all together, at least you need a month. But 2 to 3 months is usually what I see until it's ready to go out. Apply, number 4, and receive what they call adoption. Saitaku is the Japanese word. Saitaku is that they're going to select you as part of the government project or something. It sounds as if. So you are selected to help the government project is like idea. So all the power is on government. they have the power to change anything they want. But anyways, do the project number 6 is you're going to spend your money first to do the project. For example, you develop a website, you develop a product, you outsource your IT service development and so forth. You pay first. Then at the end of the project, subsidy project, what they call, you file a performance report, meaning that how much you spend, that is you described in the application. And they're going to examine it, and they finalize how much they're going to pay, and there is a bank transfer. It takes right here, from here to here, a few weeks to a month maybe. So you need to really plan ahead. It's not you get the money and run type of thing. It is a planned project, and it's the best if you have 1 year, 2 year business plan handy with you, and the subsidy fits in where. Therefore, you're going to kind of prioritize this and that. That's how you want to approach, rather than I want 2.5 million yen now and spend it as I wish or something. That's a reverse, completely opposite approach. And then you need to, once a year in April, you need to report how you did it and how the project is moving ahead from the application or performance report. This is important. A lot of people disregard this part, but you may be in trouble if you don't do it. So that's why another reason that you want to have someone to watch, what to do when. Okay, that's how you get it, how you do it. Case study. This is a person who came from Silicon Valley, California, US, and was doing business himself personally. He didn't have a company, and he didn't know how to do it. He didn't want to spend too much money for it. So I helped him incorporate with a government-supported program. It's called TOSBEC, but I helped him incorporate, and then we moved on to two things. You need the money to spend first, right? And then you get subsidy. So you need to get some finance, either yourself or somebody else. Is it VC, venture capital, or is it a business bank loan? It's the easiest. The Japanese government is pushing the startup business so that they understand they need money. So they have a special loans for startups. If you get, I talked about this certificate from the government. If you get that, you can apply for 35 million yen, up to 35 million yen loan for startups without any personal guarantee or collateral. So even if you go out of business, it's a worse scenario. You yourself personally don't have to be liable for the company loan, company contracted loan. So it's a good thing. It's a big change. You had to put your personal guarantee before, like few years before the COVID period. That's the normal thing. That's the common sense. But nowadays, you don't have to. Government is pushing hard for the small business to borrow. That's a normal thing. A lot of Japanese companies use that and use subsidy together so that you don't have to spend money to do it. So I helped him do that. Small business subsidy was applied in March 2024, and he get acceptance from in June, and he's doing the project right now, and he's going to apply for the subsidy money in October. He doesn't have to wait until November or December to do it. He's finishing up very quickly. That's how it's done. His first 2.5 million yen. Oh, by the way, for the bank loan for this type of thing, if you get acceptance notice, you can get bank loan very easily because you have a kind of promise to get money from the government. So you have a lot of ways, a lot of alternatives to get to finance it. Don't worry, you don't have money right now. You have ways to go around it. So, oh yeah, he's got Japan Finance Corporation loan in June. Yeah, he applied for it, and in 2 weeks he got the money in his bank account. So he is using that money to do the small business subsidy, and he'll get 2.5 million yen. That amount he doesn't have to pay back to anyone, right? Subsidies are the money you don't have to pay back. Bank loans you have to pay back. So you can either use that subsidy money to pay back, but you can use that to invest in the future projects too. So you have a lot of benefits by doing the subsidy project. It's kind of complicated if you think about it, but there's someone who can help you, guide you all the way through to the into the future, and not once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, in bigger amounts every time. You can do that. Okay. He's now applying for 25 million yen local bank business loan. Okay, right now I've just completed a report called The 7 Secrets of Highly Successful Japanese Subsidies. There are questions about, can you do multiple subsidies at the same time? Yes, I'm explaining it, and even more secrets in the report. And you can get it with my 30-minute free consultation. If you read it, you have even more questions. How can I do it? What is the best subsidy for me? Are there any other local subsidies? Those subsidies, national subsidies, are just few of them, just several. But as I told you, there are thousands of subsidies available, even from Tokyo. I'm working for a new startup in Yakushima, Kyushu, Kagoshima. They have local subsidies too. Not one, but several of them. And it's popping up every year. And you need to just watch out when it's coming out. I just attended a subsidy for a co-working office, co-working place subsidy up to like 36 million yen for Tokyo. If you have to open up a co-working for foreigners, you can get a subsidy, something like that. There are many, many kinds. Just ask, what business you are doing, and we can search for what subsidies are available right now, or when it's coming out, if not now. So it is this, the cover a little changed, but those 7 secrets, you can apply subsidies repeatedly, simultaneously, and apply multiple subsidies. Also, number 4, you can maximize your effectiveness by using different subsidies depending on the stages of startup. If you are just starting out, what subsidies are best for you? When you are turning around and making profits, you want to expand, what subsidies are best for you? There are different types, and they are best to use at a certain point in time of your business development. Number 5, subsidies are paid later, but you don't have to use your funds if you use somebody else's money, not your relative or brother or mother's money, but you can get the government-supported money publicly, openly, and use it for your benefits, because you are going to benefit the Japanese economy. They want you to expand your business. They want you to be successful, because that's good for the Japanese economy, Japanese people. You probably hire 1 or 2 or more Japanese people. That's good. That goes on and on. That's why subsidies are available. It makes all the economic benefits. Number 6, you can maximize the effectiveness of the subsidy if you think in the long term rather than the short-term strategy you need to have. Now, we can help you by helping you apply for subsidies. You will get all the market analysis, competitive analysis, SWOT analysis, 3C analysis, all those analysis for your company, so that you can use that business plan for maybe for VC, maybe to apply for a business loan, even to change your course of business for your own benefit. Number 7, you can get the most out of your subsidy with that right consultant. Hopefully that's us, but you can decide who you want to use. But you want to leverage your business. You don't want to work in your business. You want to work own your business. To do that, you need a leverage. To get the leverage, you want to spend somebody else's money. You can use experts to work hard for you, and that will result in a very high ROI, return on investment. That's probably the biggest secret, non-secret to you, but how you're going to do it, this is one of the ways. Okay, Person.
Cool. Thank you very much, Nobuji. And one thing is no, Nobuji, I've been trying to answer some of the questions in the chat because we do have quite a lot of questions. So I've been trying to do that. It's so one question I think from John Kirsch that I think probably everyone has is do you know if there's a centralized online website with up-to-date information about the different types of subsidies all over Japan?
You asking if there is one?
Yes.
There are several or maybe more websites that are available. I kind of, go to those websites from time to time, but it's the best if you know, which subsidy you're targeting. You just go back to the subsidy homepage from time to time and watch what's happening on the latest news. But yeah, there are several of them, and maybe you can. We haven't started doing it, but that kind of thing may be what we should do very soon. But there are websites available, and those are the people who want to get your subsidy advisory project. But I'm not quite too sure if they can provide you what you want in English and in a very long-term oriented business assistance advisory type of service. That's a different story. And you just need to, if you want to get the information, yeah, I introduce those information for you too.
Yeah, and I think one person, all right, Nobuji, let me finish the train of thought. So I think one person was asking about if they were to work with, a professional like Nobuji, like how does the payments normally work? And I think for Kalina's question, it is usually nowadays, they do ask for some money up front. And the main reason they ask for some money up front is they do have to do research because, I think because the subsidies, because it's always changing and, it's not the same year over year, or there's differences each year, they have to do research. And so usually they charge a little bit upfront to do the research. Is that correct, Nobuji?
Yeah, it's called, in Japanese, chakushukin, meaning that that's an initiation fee or something, upfront fee. Most of them, there are consultants who don't require upfront fee, but higher success fee. The compensation for the experts usually in two parts: upfront fee and success fee. Upfront fee is rather small. It's like for small subsidy, like 50,000. Monozukuri maybe like 150,000 or so forth. That may sound big, but you spend tens of hours to do the research, and all the experiences they've gone through to earn that know-how. That's it's a good thing you spend, and also you get a business plan as a result when you apply for subsidy. And you need to have a very detailed business plan, and whether or not the subsidies are paid, or if you are approved or not, you get all the ideas and plans up front to do it. If you have an even longer business plan and fit those small subsidy projects in there, you have now visualized all the courses, business courses in front of you. That may be bigger part of doing subsidy. When you say subsidy, it's not only the amount on or approval rate. It is the business planning, business advisory, all the money you need for the growth of your business. And part of it is that subsidy. If you get the subsidy, yeah, it is a big plus. But even with or without a subsidy, your business should grow. Or it's not, I didn't get the subsidy, therefore my business failed. Is that the case? It's not, it should be the reverse, right? You want, I'm going to grow the business, but I get the subsidy to accelerate it. I fit the subsidy in my business. That's how you should do it. That's what I'm talking about in this number 6 and 7 part of it. You need that type of a business advisor. It's like getting a CFO on a very cheap expense. And you don't have to pay success fee unless you get 2.5 million yen, 50 million yen, 80 million yen, 36 million yen subsidy. You have to pay upfront fee, maybe, but you get all the advices upfront.
Yeah, Noguchi, I mentioned to them that I think kind of the standard now is I think before it used to be a lot more let's say success, like you pay a success fee. Or what I mean to say is before it used to be more success fee based. I think you might pay like 15% or maybe even 20%, 25%, some cases.
10 to 20% is normal.
And but nowadays I'm kind of seeing more people who help with subsidies charge up front. And I think that's because of the lower success rate. Or what do you think they're
maybe it's not, the very wise experts can live with or without subsidy because they tend to be a good business advisor, and those small businesses want a good advisor working for them.
Yeah.
And if that person can do the subsidy, that's a big plus. But you don't pick a business advisor just because of the subsidy.
I get, yeah. And I think one thing maybe some people don't understand too is if for a success fee business to work, like, they just really, they have to be good at choosing the winners. Like the businesses that can really be, have a high probability of getting the subsidy.
Yeah, you yourself as a client want to pick a good expert, but at the same time, clients are looking at prospects. If they are going to be a good client who can pass, who can get approved for the subsidy. So you may contact an expert, but expert may not help you because he doesn't think blah blah. But you need to work together. For example, in my service, subsidy service, I don't charge success fee until you get the subsidy. You get approved for the subsidy. Many Japanese experts charge you, send the invoice to you right here, right here. You apply for it, and you receive adoption, and you get a determination of the amount right here, very close. You have to get a determination of the amount right after this. but that's the timing they charge you 10, 15, 20% of the amount you might or might not get as a result of this performance report and examination. They charge you before they get the money right here. But in my situation, I wait until right here. This is just a few weeks, so we will overlap. So you need to you need to be careful. What kind of a service, what kind of a expert you are talking to. That's why I want to be more good advisor to work with you on a long term, because we may be going to work 10, 11, and maybe after that another subsidy, or bank loan and so forth. You tend to do a lot more than just a subsidy. Yeah, there are many different things. I've been asked by school business owner, Eigo business school owner, in up north in Tohoku area. He wants to expand nationally in Japan, and he wants to purchase Eigo school business owner whose business owners are retiring. What kind of a business structure they want, what kind of financing they want, even though his first question was, what kind of subsidy can I use? It's not just subsidy. It is a business you're talking about, that you want to grow. That's what we should talk about. Subsidies are part of it.
Cool. And there are two questions that I didn't address earlier. They're more, I think they're not general, they're very industry specific.
Okay.
But the first one is that's a tricky one. Or I'll go with Jason's first. But I think for light manufacturing, I think like food products, for the capital equipment, is Monosuguri subsidy applicable?
If it's manufacturing, yeah, monozukuri means manufacturing. Mono is thing, zukuri or tsukuru is made.
I took that literally too. I mean, I worked for a manufacturing client in my previous startup, and now I'm starting a food product business. Previous business was more of a factory monitoring solution, so I'm now just taking those lessons to to cheese making, basically.
Yeah, monozukuri, if you are to manufacture something, yeah, that's the area that they're looking at.
His case is manufacturing cheese.
Manufacturing cheese. Yeah, their point to look at either making the manufacturing operation more efficient and innovative, or you're going to make new product that is very innovative, different by using or the IoT, AI, and so forth.
Yeah, my pitch would basically be about building the AI solution, or not the AI solutions, the IoT solutions around craft cheese production for small manufacturers. There's like 600 little tiny cheese makers.
If it's new to the industry, then they're going to look at it very interesting, how it's going to benefit the local economy, society, and so forth. Those are the different points they're going to look at, and so forth.
Makes sense. Yeah, there's products like this out with non-Japanese production, like equipment manufacturers, but they're mainly in Europe and China, and so a lot of them don't take into account like physical constraints of small manufacturers here. So they're designed for their small manufacturers are much bigger than a typical Japanese small cheese maker would be.
Yeah.
So their equipment is much larger, and so I'm hoping to build some solutions that make it easier for craft cheese producers to work. Even though I'm doing that by becoming a craft cheese producer, it's maybe a bit of a conflict of interest, but I don't quite see it that way.
Mm. Okay.
And I
yeah.
think the second question from Jason would be, and this applies to everyone, but do the subsidy applications have specific dates that you have to file applications on, or can you apply year-round? And sorry, Jason, I'm going to mute you.
The first one is right. It has very specific date, application period, starting date and ending date. They are very, very specific about it. You cannot be 1 minute late. Say like it's 1700 of August 28th. If it's 1701, you are gone. It's closed. When they start, like usually it's like a 3-week period. Oftentimes they announce it 1 week before, and the application window opens 1 week later, and 3 weeks open and close. And that's usually the cycle. But you don't know exactly when it's coming out until you get the announcement. So it kind of, they release it and close it maybe in a month, maybe month and a half. So you need to be aware it's there and waiting for it to open up.
Okay, and there's one other question that I skipped through. I think it's from Ozon, I think. He wants to create a media production company that wants to help Japanese grow. Yeah, for grants, it's so we're not talking too much about grants today, but it really depends. I think for the startup cities, I know Fukuoka gives grants to hire people in Fukuoka. But for Tokyo, nobody, do you know if Tokyo gives grants?
I think so. I haven't looked at those subsidies, the grants, but for example, if you apply for monozukuri subsidy and hire a person, one person, manager to manage it or something, the grants are available for that. It's not subsidy, but grant, you can put grant and subsidy together, and they're going to get much bigger approval rate than otherwise.
Gotcha. That one, yeah, that one would be national.
Yeah, but in local, yeah, there are a lot of local grants too. For example, gasoline price went up so high, or at the same time, in a very short period of time, local government gave a lot of grants or subsidies or whatever they call it. For example, Shinjuku has a subsidy for any businesses, small businesses based in Shinjuku, up to 1.4 million yen. And it's not, you don't have to file any business plan. You just need to, you spend it, and with the receipt, you're going to apply for the reimbursement, and you get it in 2 months. That may be the quickest. And I got it twice. I'm based in Shinjuku, and I get that type of subsidies twice already. So you need to be aware what's available. And Minatoku has good subsidy, like 6 million yen or something, for startup. And I think they already closed. First 73 applicants, and they're going to close. That's what they said. And they opened up sometime like mid-June, and in 2 months or so, they closed.
And so for Nobuji, I want to, so I think, could you go one slide back, I think?
Okay,
Okay, okay, sorry, maybe one more forward.
one more.
Yeah, I think to make sure it's not confused, or sorry, two more towards the end with your
Towards the
offer.
end,
One more. Yeah, there. So I
right?
think just to confirm, it's or Novaji, could you explain I think could you explain how this works? Getting the
This
30
is
minutes with you.
a report that I prepared.
Yeah, if you could explain how can they get the 30 minutes with you?
Yeah, would you, Heiken, would you put the
Aiken's
link in chat
Oh yeah.
so that the link will work? I didn't put the link over here.
You mean the
do you want
link
me
for
to
the Stripe link?
do you want me to put the Stripe link in the chat?
Yeah,
Yes.
Okay. Ooh.
And so Aiken's going to be posting a Stripe link for
and this is the report. It's not very good looking, but the contents, please take a look at the contents. And I haven't had much time to work on any good looking pictures and so forth, but I put best of my knowledge into this. And if you have any more questions, you can ask me 30 minutes, but it usually extends more than 30 minutes. And it's going to start all the discussions, Q&A from there. What about this? What about that? What happens to my business? And, how can my business use, what kind? And we're going to start talking about it. So
and how
it gets to be more real if you take one step further by
and
purchasing.
I'll summarize. So Heiken will be posting a link to Stripe or Nobuji's let's see, this report. This report is not free. You would have to pay for this report. And in return for paying for the report, how much is the report, Nobuji?
I think it's 11 million yen. Yeah.
Or you mean 11,000 yen?
11,000. Yeah, not 11 million.
Yeah.
It's gets to be like a subsidy amount.
It's no problem. It's so
11,000.
it'll cost 11,000 yen for the report, but the report comes with maybe like a 30 to 45-minute chat with Nobuji for free. So the chat with Nobuji in the previous slide, it's not a free chat. Or it is free, I guess, if you buy the report.
But you get the information.
Yeah.
You don't get free.
Yeah, for a
anyway.
very specific case.
Yeah.
And also, just to let everyone know, like Heiken can attest to this. It's taken us so that's funny. That would be $1 trillion, please. That was really funny. And it has taken us, I think, 6 months, Heiken, 5 months to find someone willing to speak about subsidies in English. And it's been a nightmare trying to find someone, but Nobuji, thank you for spending so much time to prepare for this presentation and willing to give your time to come with this. But yeah, it really was a nightmare trying to find and some of you here, you noticed that our first attempt got canceled. And so I apologize for canceling on you last time. And so Heiken has posted a link to the report on subsidies plus 30, maybe 45-minute chat with Nobuji. And also we'll be sending Nobuji, would it be okay to send the slides as well to everyone?
Oh, this slide?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
there's no problem.
Yeah, there's a pretty good graph you had on, like what subsidies are available. So one is for anyone who's signed up for the event, I think on Luma Heiken, we'll be sending a video recording and the slides for the seminar so you can take a look at things more slowly afterwards. Heiken, is that correct? If they signed up for the Luma event?
Yeah. they will get a follow-up email on the recording link as well as the slides as well. Yeah.
Cool. So yeah, we will yep, I think we'll do that. And I think we've addressed all the questions.
One thing I just want to
Sure.
speak about. If you purchase, I set up automated email system, so you receive an email with a link to the report. If you don't receive it, please let me know. I just set it up. I haven't had much time to spend time, all those details, but wanted to put more things in the report and this presentation. And also, my intention is to give the ton of information, ton of value with the consultation Zoom meeting with me, which I should be able to give you a good value to you.
Cool. And nobody, would it be possible if I could mention our services one more time?
Sure, go ahead. You go ahead. This one, right?
And I think it'll be slide number 5 in the beginning.
Oh, 5?
Yes,
want to?
please.
Right.
Yes.
Please.
So yeah, and just for scaling your company, I didn't give myself introduction, but I founded 3 companies in Japan. The first one, OneCoin English. I think we have 10 I think we're like the 8th biggest language school for adults in Japan. We have like 50 or 60 full-time staff in Japan and like 150, 170 part-time staff. But I have I have N1 Japanese. But for my third company, Scaling Your Company, we really just help with growing your business in Japan. And we can create a website in Japanese or English. We can do SEO or MEO. My blogs get about 60,000 views. OneCoin English gets 250,000 views. For Google Maps, I've ranked probably 20 terms in Tokyo, like photographer in Tokyo, fitness trainer in Tokyo, English school in Tokyo, Japanese lessons in Tokyo. I've pretty much have ranked over 40 or 50 businesses for Google Maps and in the hardest locations and even for SEO. And so we can help you with that in Japanese or English. We also have sales courses on how to do trade shows for B2B sales in Japan. Also how to create a sales deck, marketing deck, which you put on your website. You do Google AdWords, people visit your website, they download your deck, you call them up, set up a meeting and close the deal. A lot of my clients and course attendees, they follow that framework and yep, pretty much every month, one course taker is closing a corporate deal in Japan for our courses. Hey, Kim, maybe you could send a link to the website, the course. I also do one-on-one advisory for startups. I charge 16,500 yen. For more established businesses, like if you have like 40 million yen, I would charge around 20 to 22,000 yen an hour. But my startup fee is lower at 16,500. And also I do peer group coaching for CEOs. We're starting in October. We have enough members to start. We're about 4 and 3. But if you make 5 million to 30 million and you do B2B, we have one group for that where we just talk about growth, marketing and sales. You bring your problem. I give my feedback, the other members give their feedback. And if you have 40 million to 500 million, this one would be probably a little bit about growth, but it'll probably be more like management, organization. How do you level up your team? And yeah, so I think that's the services that we provide at Scaling Your Company. And in October, the cost for the peer group coaching, it's 1 month. It's just one session, and it'll be 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, and it'll be 16,500 yen. So very, very affordable. 16,500 yen for the peer group. And then I'll be moderating the group and I can answer a lot of your marketing and sales questions for Japan in English, in English or Japanese. Cool. And Heike, if you could post the links for the courses. For the peer group, you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn and Heike can post that link as well. And we'll send the link email later with everything as well. Oh, and sorry, last thing, it's we wanted to get everyone to do a survey if possible. And I just posted it in the chat. And October, B2B sales in Japan seminar, and November is, sorry, just a lot of information, and marketing localization for Japan. Upcoming seminars. And I think in December, I think we're going to try to get 2 VCs to talk about fundraising in Japan. So if you want to raise venture capital in Japan, I think in December we're trying to schedule 2 venture capitalists to do basically just a Q&A. So I think there's quite a few startups here who want to raise venture capital. But we're still raising capital or venture capital in Japan. And as people fill out the survey, Nobuji, maybe we could take 1 or 2 more questions, maybe.
Sure.
And yeah, so if you could send your questions in the chat, we can take probably 2 more questions. And if you could just type it in. Sure, Dwayne. I guess, yeah, it'd be fine if you could unmute yourself as well. Or type it out. Or if someone else has a question, you can also type it out. Nobuji, there's more of a general question, but
Okay.
do you feel the Japanese market is ready to support foreign startups?
Yeah.
Or maybe
There
I'll give
are
my opinion first. Thanks,
Okay,
Emil.
go ahead.
My opinion is I'll say yes and no. That's a good question too. So my opinion would be yes and no. I would say yes in the sense that let's say there is subsidies available. For example, with some of the startup cities, like normally it would cost you like maybe 500,000 yen to incorporate, but I think with like startup city, so I think there's Ayano Sugita, I think they cover even like 300,000, like 500,000, like, they cover a lot of the costs of the incorporation fee. So I think that's pretty supportive, giving 300, 500,000. I think there's probably in the audience with Fukuoka, they give maybe like up to 1 million yen. So I'd say they are, and I know foreign founders who are receiving the money. But on the other hand, no, in the sense that the bank account, like to incorporate in Japan is a nightmare. It's on our other source, but we're helping foreign companies incorporate in Japan. And if you wanted to set up a branch in Japan, it's either you get the startup visa or you pay a company and you pay someone to serve as your CEO. They'll create your company for you. Then then you apply for the business manager visa, once you get that, they'll transfer your company back to you. And so like the bank account is a nightmare. Immigration is a nightmare because it just takes so long to get, the startup visa. I think one person here, I think they've been waiting 4 months, maybe 6 months. So that's kind of my opinion. So bank-wise and bank-wise, visa-wise, immigration-wise, it's quite it's quite restrictive. But I'll let Nobuji share his opinion. Then we'll jump into Jason's question about GFC loans, which is a great question.
Okay. As to immigration, I don't know too much about. I haven't really been involved in the immigration process. I am now connected with Ryosei Shoshi, who works with a lot of foreigners to get visa immigration issues. She can negotiate with immigration officers, but I understand that it is a difficult, time-consuming process, especially the business manager visa. But certain people, like Chinese investors, invest in Hokkaido, Niseko, or where, they get to go around all those things, and I'm very interested in what's behind the scene. Another thing, bank loan. I helped 2 companies get bank loans in a month, maybe 3 weeks or so. One got a bank account opened in 3 weeks with SBI NetBank. Another one got it opened with GMO or Aozora NetBank. Those netbanks are easier. My suggestion would be to go apply for GMO Aozora NetBank. They don't really look into the official documents, but they want you to explain your actual existence of your business, what kind of contracts you have, what kind of sales you have had, or if it's a new corporation, if you don't have a bank account, you don't have a sales, but some kind of business things that you have had experience, and you are extending that business into Japanese market, it has better chance. And both of those guys opened up a bank account. It was, I don't say it was an easy process, because we went back and forth with bank staff, and sometimes it gets to be very, very emotional and outrageous to be asked for certain questions. And I myself opened up a bank account. It was a difficult process with GMO. I was a bank, but there are ways, and maybe I can help you there with my experience. As to the general programs that Tyson didn't explain, bank loans, it gets to be the answers for the GFC, but bank loans, yes, it is more difficult for foreigners, non-Japanese, to get bank loans. But as I talked about in my case study to you today, that guy opened up a business, established his KK 6 months before the loan, and he made no sales. He is only 1-person operation, but he got a loan from GFC in 2 weeks period. We've had a lot of preparation for it, because we prepared business plans for small business and monozukuri, and we prepared for bank loan business plans for Minatoku and JFC. But once he applied for the bank loan, he was asked to meet with a bank staff person, and talked about about the conditions for the loans and details. Amounts are reduced, but he got the loan, and it's the beginning. Once you get the loan and you increase your sales, you expand your business, more amounts are available, or based on that history that you're going to create. That's how it is. JFC, they don't need a local bank certificate, so you don't have to go through a 4-week program. But it's better to have it anyways. And it's a government-supported bank, financial institution. So process is faster, like he had the loan in 2 weeks. But the plan that you're going to submit, I think it's better to have a very good plan, and you want to explain how your business will benefit the Japanese economy and how the market is growing and so forth. That type of things gives you the credibility, even if you are non-Japanese. There are many Japanese business people who are not good at making those things and who are not good business people. They just don't get a good loans or nothing at all. So, you as a good business person, it gives you credibility anyways, and you just want to make sure you want to present it in the right way. Tyson, what is a question about JFC? Anything? Did I answer
it was more like, do you know any good articles on it? But unfortunately, I don't know any good articles that someone could read.
Good in Japanese? You can
Or
translate it?
in
And I'd say more specifically about, what they're looking for, what the pitfalls are, what sort of mistakes you might make when applying. It would be better for me if it's in English, but I can struggle through the Japanese. It's manageable. But I've been to the office. I've talked to people at the Japan Finance Corp office. But there's things that can go wrong when you're filing Japanese paperwork, especially as a foreigner, and knowing the sorts of things that might bother them, or things that they would.
Yeah, there are things that you want to watch out, and there are ways you want to do it. They've changed. They automated it, meaning that the application is now online based. They tell you
that he didn't tell me. He told me to do it by paper, but I guess if there's an online version, I would much prefer that, because I can
Sure.
I can do.
Sure. So that's a good news, right? And there are types of loans. That's very kind of confusing. And I've been in touch with JFC people many times by now, and I'm getting to know what they are looking for. So you may want to talk to me about those things. The time is limited now, so I cannot speak on everything there. But JFC, you can get up to. Are you a startup company?
I am, basically a startup.
Less than 5 years, 7 years?
My company was just established in July, as far as Japan is concerned. I have a US company as well, but that doesn't really count here. So
yeah, but it still helps, because the guy from Silicon Valley, he had a good experience in his area, IT area, and that was one of the reasons that he got the finance. And the loan for small companies is now up to 72 million. It used to be 25 million. So the government pushing hard for you to start up a new business, and foreigners are not excluded. And if you have a good experience, they look for prior experience and IP. I mean, if you have all the patents or any licenses or or those are the things that they look for.
Yeah, my particular case is a little bit weird because I have this manufacturing monitoring solutions technology background. Like I built an entire system for that for my previous employer. But I'm actually trying to do something that's production side. So so the guy at the JFC was like, oh, inshokuten. So it's like, well, sort of, yes, there is that part of it.
I think you want to clearly, make
yes.
it understandable on how it's different, or how or what kind of value that your product creates.
That makes sense.
Yeah, if they want to categorize you, in certain things that they can understand, or they have had experience in.
Yeah, I mean, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's hard to explain to anybody who is not familiar with the craft food category anyway, especially when you're technology augmenting craft food with technology. That's a bit surprising even in Japan. So
the craft business, like a beer or anything that relates to the local or economy development contribution, that's something that those bankers and older business people are looking for, and also the monozukuri reviewers, examiners are kind of looking forward to. So it may be a good thing for for someone to take a look at and make it really shine for those business.
It definitely would benefit from having somebody clear, especially in the Japanese explanation, because all I've written is English slide deck so far, and I've explained it in Japanese, but my writing in Japanese is pretty terrible. So I've taken to just explaining as much as possible in verbally as opposed to writing, and so I'm probably going to pay somebody to write my application, but
yeah. I can help you, but
yes,
up to you. But I will do all the analysis that they are going to be impressed. That's what you need, I think, from Japanese perspective.
Thank you, everyone, for Bo Becker. So I think the last thing you mentioned, let's say John mentioned about Bo Becker getting a bank account. Actually, John, our episode for the podcast came out next week is with Bo Becker on getting a bank account. And I think that'll be probably the best podcast episode or content other than his article going into detail. And he'll come up with new information as well. So definitely subscribe to our podcast. And thank you, everyone, for joining. And it's time for lunch. Have a nice day.
Okay. Bye-bye.